I wanted to also touch on your signing with Red Stick, because that's fairly recent, and I don't know if a lot of people out there know about it. How did it come about? Whatever you could tell me about Red Stick, how it's been since you've been there.
Yeah, it's been great, man. So the original record we recorded was Rust. That was recorded at Audio Smith Studios in Prairieville. The owner of that studio, his name's Robbie Smith, and I think maybe 3 to 6 months after we finished recording that, he reached out to me and said that he and some partners were getting together and going to finance this label out of Baton Rouge.
And this is the now producer, one of the now producers for Red Stick?
Correct, and one of the owners.
Okay.
And so once the label got kicked off, they signed, their first signing was a guy named JP Bourgeois, who's out of, I guess, Raceland. And then right around that time, they reached out to me and said, hey, what do you think about sign a recording contract with us and let's start making some records together. And it's a no-brainer for me. I made the last record with them. The only difference now versus then is, they've brought in some other production talent. So they've got Travis Thibodeaux, who was the touring keyboard player for Journey for a while. He wrote "Take My Hand," that Wayne Toop song that's really famous. So he's been around, around the block for a while. So they brought him in to help with some of the in-studio producing, and then they moved a lot of the recording out of Audio Smith into where we're at now, Brignac Lane Studios in Santa Monica.
Saw that.
And I think that's just so that they could focus more on, sort of the overall engineering and the label itself, versus the tedious part of being in the studio recording and mixing all day long.
Sure.
Right? So they've outsourced some of the stuff, but Robbie's still heavily involved in all the post-production aspects of it. So yeah, it was a pretty easy transition because we had already worked with him before. So when they came to us about the recording contract, it was kind of a no-brainer.
Sure. Not only that, I would think that being from where we are from, it becomes kind of important to get a local in on it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
because
for sure.
Everything that comes out of here has got the sound that's unmistakable. You could be displaced in Maine and hear something from Louisiana and put your ear right to it and say,
right,
that came from somewhere around
here. Well,
here.
Another cool thing about it is it's like a circle of people that are colleagues that work together all the time. And so if you need, like when we record in Brian's studio in Santa Monica, he's in that clique with like all of those guys from this area, the Sonny Landreth and Waylon Thibodeaux and like all these people, right?
Sure.
So if you needed anything to bring in a cello player or bring in an accordion, they got the people, they've got the list, and it's like, I'd like to add this. All right, well, I'll make this call and bring him here. He'll be here tomorrow. We'll make it happen.
I was going to add that there's a song where there's a string section. We did it with a keyboard, and it sounds okay, but you're missing the bow and the string.
Sure.
There's that sound. So Brian's like, I know this guy. Made the call, and that's happening soon. But without that Brian connection, that wouldn't have happened. We would not knowing what to do.
Right.
Yeah, that's where I was moving to next. What kind of an impact it's had on you professionally and personally? I would imagine, like you mentioned, Waylon Thibodeaux and a few other people. You're meeting people that you probably already listened to coming up. So that's got to be kind of cool.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. These folks like this. Even Jerry. You're talking about like people that were like, musical heroes that are now like sitting in the room with me recording, our own music. So, that's super cool, right? To have them in there, to have them recording on your record.
Absolutely.
Having input and telling you something's great or that you can do something better. It's just. Creates a camaraderie in the room as well as just the confidence that we can pull it off. So I think it's been great, and our circle of musician friends has certainly grown, and I'm pretty excited about what we're doing right now.
I bet. I think it works both ways too, because if you have somebody great that's going to be on your track, it makes you seem that much greater when you put out your final product, but you also realize inside yourself, not saying anything to anybody else, I better step up to bat.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
I really got to bring.
This has got to be pretty good.
Yeah. So that's cool. And also, a little side note, your manager, Deanna Scott, so you decide to work with her, or y'all decide to work together, but then Red Stick comes into the picture afterwards, and then Red Stick picks up both of you?
Yeah,
How did that work?
So it was strange how that worked.
Yeah.
So Deanna and I, we've been working together since, I guess the first record around that time.
Which was when?
It was April 2021.
Okay.
Something like that. So she manages all of my booking, social media, all the marketing, basically my entire work life and most of my personal life. And so whenever we did the deal with Red Stick, I remember Robbie called me one day, and they needed that in their group, somebody to push all their social media stuff out, and just these guys are this marketing aspect of their business. I mean, they had no experience in that, So Robbie called me one day. He said, "Man, what do you think about me bringing Deanna on as a partner in the label and to do the marketing and promotion and all that stuff?" And I was like, "Yeah, I think it's perfect."
Yeah.
And he said, "Will be any conflict for you?" I'm like, "No. If anything, it'll make things easier for me." So. That was basically how it happened, and then they got with each other and figured out the details of it all. But yeah, it all kind of sort of happened near the same time.
Yeah. Did I get that order right though? You were first with her, and then how did they find you? They found you and approached you, or she pitched you to them?
No.
Just out of curiosity.
So the order of things was. We recorded the first record at Audiosmith, which is owned by Robbie Smith.
Okay, so that's how he learned of you.
Correct.
Okay.
And then Robbie Smith he's friends with Jerry already.
Yeah, Robbie's mixed a few records that I've been involved in, so Robbie and I go way back.
Okay.
So we've worked together a lot.
Okay.
And when we were going to record this record, I suggested Robbie. He was interested, so that was the connection.
Yeah, so we recorded the first record. They started the label, reached out to us about the recording contract, and then we signed with them, and then they signed Deanna after that.
Yeah.
I think that was the sequence of events. Am I right about this? Yeah.
I don't see how it couldn't have happened. Really, looking back on it, even though it's kind of confusing,
Yeah.
That's funny.
About to